I don't have anything overly groundbreaking, but I wanted to share because I feel like this is something that would be interesting to me to learn about other authors, is kind of what their whole process is. And I can't tell you that I have mine nailed down, considering my current work in progress is the first one I've ever done. But what, for any other writers out there or authors, I'm just curious. What is your process? What do you like to do? Like, for me, I've completely done my whole book backwards, because I had a lot of it written before I even considered plotting it, which that sounds really dumb. But there was a good portion of me where, like, we're just writing off mood and vibes, like, to be completely honest. So I feel like there's been, it's taken me a while to kind of sort out the threads of, like, this is good, I like the train of thought I'm going, and then this is just, no, this is just word vomit. So these right here are basically like my holy grail of my work in progress. I've taken so many notes, I've written down so many different trains of thought of, like, how I could take the direction of the story, and it's helped. I will say, I definitely think, like, people will ask as an author, as a writer, what are you, a plotter, or do you just, like, go by the seat of your pants? I am not somebody that goes by the seat of my pants. I used to think as I was younger that I was just a super flexible person and that I could just go with the flow. I've learned in my almost near 30 years that I am not a go with the flow person. I'm a very rigid person. I do really well with structure. I do really well with schedule. Like, give me a checklist. Oh, you're speaking love language, you know? Not having that to begin with this work in progress has, I think, hindered me in a way of, like, it's just taking me a lot longer to sort through things and then also plot things out in a way that makes sense, because the work in progress I'm working on is one of two. Right now it's two books. Possibly a third, but I haven't committed to that in my own head. So it's actually sitting down, looking at the story as a whole from the beginning of book 1 all the way to the ending of book 2, and how is that going to flow. And I feel with my work in progress, being that you have, like, the time travel and magical component to it, it makes it a little bit more complex. And I've talked to my husband about this, and he goes, this is a really, like, hefty, ambitious goal going forward for your first work in progress, because of the time travel element, because there has to be a level of preciseness to it. Otherwise, there's gonna be plot holes after plot holes after plot holes, and it could just be a big giant mess. But I was like, listen, I'm already committed. I'm like 89,000 words in. We're full sending this. So yeah, I guess that's just a little bit about my process, and that I am a plotter. I have, like, all of my backstories to backstories written down. I literally sat down and made out a family tree for my FMC. Is it necessarily information that will show up in the story? I don't know. Possibly not. But for my sake as a writer, I really want that depth in the story, and the only way to add that is if I know where this is coming from. Because if I don't know where it is, then how are you guys gonna know as readers where it's coming from? Or it's not gonna make sense, or it's not gonna have the same pull. So for me, it's really important to have this backstory down, that even though a reader may not see it, it's in my head, and things in my head need to be written down or I will forget them 100%. Even though it's my story, there have been times where I'm like, oh, this would be such a good idea, and then I go sit down and write. It's like, I didn't write it down, and I don't remember it, and I'm the one writing it. So anyway, and I have my character logs, like, down to the descriptions of my characters, and it's not like I'm sitting here listing out all of my characters' attributes, but it's like, I know it in my head, so it will go down with how I describe the character, you know, and they have their likes and their dislikes, and that plays into how my characters will evolve, and, you know, the things that you see as a reader in more of, like, the abstract way. So this is a little bit about my process. I hope this is making sense, because, like I said, this is my process now. I have other work in progresses that I have kind of outlined a lot better than this, because remember, this was a very big learning curve. And I feel like I could go back and pick it up and kind of be in the same frame of mind of when I started the outline, because I wrote everything down. I just brain dumped. I didn't do that with this. I just kind of went off on a thought and prayer and a vibe. I was like, we'll figure it out. And we are indeed figuring out, but it is taking longer than it probably should. So, you know, you learn. Like for me, I know plotting is definitely going to be a thing where I need to have an outline, where I need to have my character Bible, where I need to have basically a whole freaking notebook where I can take notes, because I don't put notes in my documents, I write them down. Because I'm a freak. And because I feel like when I write things down, I will remember it more than if I typey type. So like, what do you guys do? And also, while I'm writing, I normally listen to classical music because it's not distracting. If it has lyrics and I know the lyrics, I will in fact be singing along to the music. And my brain, I cannot listen to other things and concentrate at the same time. I can't do it. I can't. My husband will edit and listen to a podcast and have basketball on. And I said, sir, you are clinically insane, because I could not do that. I'm like, how does that? I would start writing about, like, because he was listening to a political podcast, I would start writing about politics in my story. And as much as I love Dave Smith, I don't want to talk about libertarian politics in this story. No, thank you. So I'm just saying, people have their processes. My husband's probably insane. I don't think there's anyone else. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, if you are a writer, what does your process look like? I would love to know, because I'm nosy, and maybe there is something you do that I would like to try, because why not? I'm at the very baby stages of being a writer, so I'm up to try most things.